Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be taking this porch swing frame that I found on the side of the road and marrying it with a table I found on the curb to create a plant stand display piece. Now, I don't actually have room for this at my house, but I do have a friend who's a florist, and I'm going to be making this with the intent that she will use it to maybe hang baskets from this part. The table is going to be cut up and made into some type of like a shelf going across. Now, lucky me, the table that I found is exactly the width of this to go from one side to the other. So I think it's gonna work. So like many of my videos, this isn't something that I've ever done before. I'm gonna figure it out as I go along, take you along with me, and hopefully it will inspire you to create a project of your own. So the first thing I need to do is paint this frame. It's already a beige. It's really pretty rusty looking along many of the areas. So I always, when I go to places like Lowe's or Ace, I always look at their Oops paint, which is paint that people bought, didn't like the color, they returned. It's often at very discounted prices. So I'm always on the lookout for that, and I have a stash of it. So I have a nice color. It's like a charcoal gray, almost a black. I'll be painting this frame. The table that I have, which I'll show, it's really heavy, so I'll show that in the coming shots, but it's a nice, like a chocolate brown. And I think the two colors together will give it like more of a modern feel that I'm looking for. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but this cross support piece, when I found it was bent, it's like someone stood on it. I tried straightening it out and it's just kinking even worse. It's been out in the rain and elements for years, so this hardware is seized up. So I'm gonna have to cut it off with my angle grinder. But I'm thinking that here are my options. I can either take it off, straighten it out some way, although it's not going to do anything with the dents, or when I add the wood pieces, it's going to take the place of this. One thing to consider is this is going inside of a business, so I'm kind of afraid that this is going to be more of a tripping hazard, so most likely I'm going to take it off and it's going to stay off. But that's what I'm going to do right now, is grind this bolt off. I got this far painting and then I realized there are these ugly plastic caps. I'm sure they're to keep like water out of the tube, but they look really ugly. I'm taking them off. I had to unscrew them, and now I'm just hitting with a flathead screwdriver and a hammer. But I'm thinking that, here, show you. They're really ugly, they're worn. I mean, look at that. I mean, there's not much I could do. So I'm thinking that I might take the opportunity to fill that void inside of there with maybe a piece of wood. Like maybe I can think of something to stick in there to make it look like I meant to do that. I always say make your mistakes or make the problems look intentional. But yeah, that was ugly. That has to go. So I'm gonna hit the other one off too and see if I can't find some kind of a purpose for that. If not, I'll just put a piece of wood that is that size in there just to cover it up. So anyway, I just wanted to note that in case you go to do this project and you find that same thing. So I'm going to hit this other side off too. And then continue painting. The paint right now looks more purple, but it's going to end up being like a slate gray. It's going to need 2 coats. I did not prime it just because this is something that's going to be inside my friend's business, and whoever had it before me painted it already. So that was like what I view as the primer. I'm giving this away for free. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it other than to do this video. Okay, so I just finished up with the second coat. This is Valspar paint. I don't know what exact color it is. It isn't marked on the lid. This is Oops paint that I bought. I didn't go in and pick it out. But right now it looks more like an eggplant because it's wet. I have a feeling when it dries, it's gonna be a real nice slate gray. So after this dries, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to what is the tabletop. It actually has 3 sections they're gonna need taken apart. But I'm picturing, actually I pictured it down here, but I think that's gonna be too low. So I think I'm gonna try to make the plant stand go right here. I'll have to figure out how to attach that. Probably some type of a clip from underneath. But like I said, I'm just gonna continue, and as I figure it out, I'll tell you how I did it. So after this paint dries, I'll go on to the next step. This is the tabletop I'll be working with. Ask me how fun it was to get it up on this table without help. So it is in 3 sections, and I'm going to take these pieces off. I'm going to hang on to them because I really think that I might be able to make, I'm picturing like some kind of a crate or some kind of like a long flower box that I can put on this when it's all done. So I'm going to keep these pieces parts. I actually woke up with the idea to take the legs and cut them into varying heights, drill a hole kind of into them and make them like a votive candle holder. So we'll see if that actually even looks good in real life. So the next step is going to be taking all the screws out. Actually, they look good. I'm going to hang on to those because screws are expensive. All right, I got to say, for pre-made furniture, this was really well put together. It took some doing. So here are the panels. There are 3 of them. They're really pretty heavy, but as you can see, they're like a nice stain. They're a little bit distressed on the end over there. These are the cross pieces that I took off. There are 2 large ones, several smaller ones. So I am picturing like some type of, maybe like a long crate looking box or a shorter square, something. So I will hang on to this. I took all the screws out and set it aside. There's a bunch of little dowels. That's all good material you can use again in something else. I'm now at the point of needing to connect these shelves with the actual frame. So I bought these brackets. I think usually you put like conduit running through these, but they're the perfect size to fit on this frame. The problem is this wood just clears either side. So what I intend on doing is leaving one part like this. It'll attach underneath on the wood, and then I'm going to go over to my vise and bend this part so that it's straight up. These clips are going to attach underneath each piece of wood and then go up and then connect then on the outside. So that is what I'm going to do now. Being that these were leaves of a table, they are going to fit together. They were like little metal dowels where they slid together. I think what I might do is attach them though with some type of a cross bracket that goes here, just so they don't open up, and that should give it a little bit more stability too. Once this is put together, I'm going to flip it over. I noticed there were a couple scratches on it. I'm going to sand it lightly. I might put a little bit of stain on it when I'm done. We shall see. Okay, some of those gouges were really bad, so I just sanded it down lightly, and I'm taking clear coat and going over it, and it seems to be bringing the color back to its original glory. I'm now on the very last step of this. As you can see, I spray painted these little brackets black, and the part that's actually going to show, I went ahead and painted the same Valspar color. It's like a slate gray. So what I did, and I think what would be easiest, is I took a piece of painter's tape. I found center, and then I divided that in half and found equal spacing. I think that looks about right. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and do these, and I'm going to drill my holes, take that tape out, put it on the next piece, and I think that that will be probably the easiest in drilling my holes on all of the places. Okay, so there's 1, 2, and then before I go ahead and put those screws in, I'm going to remove this, and I will just go ahead and place this. There, and then that way I know exactly where I want to put the next brackets. I think that'll be a lot easier. And so I'm going to go ahead and attach these on the outside, get everything where I want it centered here evenly, and then I will attach the ones on the bottom. Okay. All right, that really clamps it down in place. So I'm going to go ahead and do all 8 of them, and I will come back on and do a panoramic shot, and otherwise this is wrapped up. So all in all, I think this turned out really nice. It kind of has like a farmhouse industrial kind of feel with the metal, but definitely those two pieces go together really nice. Both were found on the curb. Overall, this was pretty much free for me to do. Everything I used on it, from the paint to the clear coat, the screws I used were like just leftover that I had scabbed from something else. So I hope this video inspires you to maybe take a look at something that you were gonna throw away, or maybe something that one of your neighbors put on the curb. You can really upcycle it and turn it into something beautiful and useful. Please follow me. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, and all the major platforms. And until next time, take care.